Hello, everyone. I'm Zhuoran from Purdue. Today, I'll present our work on understanding the effects of AI-based credibility indicators on the detection and spread of misinformation under social influence. Misinformation has become a serious social concern. To combat misinformation, many social media platforms are now including indicators of information credibility based on third-party fact-checking results. However, the scalability of manual fact-checking is unlikely to catch up with the magnitude of user-generated content online. As a result, credibility indicators based on artificial intelligence technologies becomes a potential alternative. Indeed, a few studies have already shown that with AI-based credibility indicators, people become more capable in judging the veracity of online information and are also less likely to share false information. However, these studies often consider a simplified experimental setting. They often assume that people's veracity judgment and willingness to engage with a piece of news is only decided by their own interpretation of the news and the influence of the AI. However, in the real world, people's perceptions of and engagement with the news are also shaped by social influence. For instance, on Twitter or Facebook, previous users' comments on the news can reveal their veracity judgments about it, which may then influence the later users. So when people are subject to social influence, can the AI-based credibility indicator still influence people's perceptions of and engagement with true and false information? More specifically, we are interested in the following two research questions. First, how do the presence and timing of the AI-based credibility indicator affect people's accuracy in detecting misinformation when they are impacted by others' judgments on the veracity of the news? Second, how do the presence and the timing of an AI-based credibility indicator affect people's willingness to share real or fake news when they are impacted by others' judgments on the veracity of the news? To answer these questions, we conducted two human subject experiments. In our experiments, we asked subjects to review a series of news stories and then make judgments on whether they are real or fake news. Specifically, in each task, subjects follow the 5-step procedure. Step 1, subjects need to review the news. Step 2, they are asked to make their initial judgments on whether the news is real or fake. Step 3, subjects will see the veracity judgments made by those people who see this news before them. In other words, this is when subjects are impacted by social influence. After reviewing others' opinions, subjects need to make their final judgment on the news veracity. Finally, in step 5, they are asked to report the likelihood for them to share the news. After a subject makes the final judgment in the task, we'll add her final veracity judgment to the end of the judgment sequence so that the later subjects who see this news can also see this subject's judgment. In total, each subject completes 10 news veracity judgment tasks. In our first experiment, we created 3 treatments by varying the presence and timing of the AI-based credibility indicator. Specifically, subjects in the control treatment did not have access to the AI predictions. In contrast, in the 2 experimental treatments, subjects see the AI-based credibility indicator for each news that they review. In the AI before treatment, subjects see the AI prediction along with the news before they make their initial judgment about the news. In the AI after treatment, subjects see the AI prediction together with other people's opinions after they make their initial judgment on the news veracity. In total, 538 subjects participated in our experiment, and the AI model that we used in the experiment makes correct predictions on 75% of the news. Our results from experiment 1 show that when people are under social influence, the presence of AI-based credibility indicator still significantly affects people's accuracy in detecting misinformation. But it appears that people do not try to differentiate the correctness of the AI predictions. This means that when AI predictions are correct, their presence increases people's accuracy in detecting misinformation. Otherwise, their presence decreases people's accuracy in detecting misinformation. In contrast, we do not find significant impacts of AI on people's intention to share real or fake news, or how deep the real or fake news will be spread. For our experiment 2, we have 2 important changes. First, We now associate each news with an image, and we attempt to see whether our results in round 1 can be replicated when the presentation of news become multimodal. Second, we would like to formally compare the effects of AI-based credibility indicators on people between the cases that people are under social influence and the cases that people are not under social influence. So we take a 2x3 factorial design, varying along 2 dimensions: the presence and timing of the AI-based credibility indicators, and whether people will see the opinions of other people who see the news before them. In total, 1,098 valid subjects data were collected in experiment 2. In terms of robustness check results, we find that when the presentation format of news becomes multimodal, the AI-based credibility indicators still affect people's accuracy in detecting misinformation when people are under social influence. And interestingly, we also find that correct AI predictions make people more willing to share real news relative to fake news, but only if these AI predictions are provided after people make their initial judgments on the news veracity independently. Moreover, in terms of the comparisons of effect sizes, for the effects of AI-based credibility indicators on both people's detection of misinformation and people's intention to share the news, we compute their sizes in terms of common C, first under the case that social influence is present, and then under the case that social influence is absent. Our results show that the effect size of AI is consistently larger on both people's capability of detecting misinformation and willingness to share information when the social influence is present than that when the social influence is absent, if the AI model predictions are provided to people before they process the news independently. That's all for our project. Thank you, and I'm happy to take questions.